In March 1988, with the end of the financial year looming, Bath City Council was in a dire financial state. After years of fund mismanagement and reckless expenditure on ridiculous tourist attractions, the council found itself desperate for fresh funds. Past ideas for tourist attractions, such as the world's tallest cello, simply accelerated the fund's crisis and actually scared tourists away. The council knew that radical ideas were needed to turn the situation around. Behind the closed doors of the city's Guild Hall, a scheme was devised which would allow the city's historic properties to be hired for commercial events. Named the History for Hire scheme, the list of properties made available was extensive. At the very top of this list was Bath Abbey. With its vast capacity and large front loading bay, the Abbey was ideally suited to large exhibitions and conventions. The 1989 Powerboat and Jet Ski Expo was the first event to be successfully hosted in the Abbey. With the large capacity Abbey now available for hire, it soon caught the eye of a large community of local rave organisers. The Atlantean Bliss Rave Collective were currently holding their large-scale events illegally in fields and barns throughout Somerset. The events were not ideal, and the organisers had grown tired of the constant police raids and startled cattle that always conspired to ruin the events. The availability of the Abbey as a venue was perfectly timed for Atlantean Bliss, who were looking to turn their raves into a 100% legal venture. Unfamiliar with the acid house scene and its ingrained drug culture, Bath City Council gave Atlantean Bliss the go-ahead, and the first rave was held in the Abbey on the 10th of August 1990. Overnight, Bath Abbey literally went from this to this. Called the Acid Temple Rave, the event attracted ravers from across the whole country, and the Abbey was close to a capacity crowd. Local residents were up in arms, the main complaint being that the excessive volume and thumping bass was causing widespread property damage and nausea in the elderly. Council officials did enforce a slight volume restriction on future proceedings, but as the council were taking a 40% cut of all profits, as well as the agreed hire fee, they let the raves continue, much to the anger of the local Residents' Association. Over the course of a year, Atlantean Bliss became an influential force in the British rave scene. By the time of the second annual Easter mashup, their events had high-profile sponsorship and were featuring such renowned artists as DJ Slowclops, John Timms, and 90s DJ collective the Siamese Acid Orphanage. Unfortunately for Atlantean Bliss, the inherent drug culture of the rave scene was to be their downfall. Local residents had expressed concern at the apparent trade of counterfeit postage stamps at the events, with revellers seemingly paying inflated prices to taste Her Majesty's glue. When the police finally took action, they found that the stamps were in fact so-called acid tabs, and that ravers were telling themselves daffy. Unsurprisingly, the Abbey rave scene was shut down for good, and Bath City Council scrapped the History for Hire scheme entirely for fear of future abuse of the venture. The final secret in our top 5 countdown is a secret that is soon to be made public by Bath City Council and the Abbey's own Heritage Foundation. The story of this final secret dates back to the year 1382, although it wasn't until February 2006 that the discovery was made. As the Abbey was undergoing a substantial refit of its ageing heating systems, a workman accidentally demolished a small brick wall in the Abbey's vaults. Other than a terrific smell of old wheat, the tiny room that was revealed seemed to contain little more than rubble and dust. It wasn't until the room was cleared that an old leather-bound book was found amongst the debris. Even after a cursory evaluation of the book, it was clear that this book was of tremendous historical importance. Further research was conducted into the mysterious Anglo-Saxon text, and it was soon announced that the book was the oldest example of its kind in the whole world. What the workmen had accidentally uncovered was the world's oldest book of jokes. With such a historic treasure on their hands, the Abbey Heritage Foundation decided that they should create a new visitor attraction surrounding the book and its mysterious history. It is this attraction that is scheduled to open to the public in the first half of 2007. The origins of this book are somewhat mysterious. Only a small foreword dated 1382 in the volume itself talks briefly of local monks handwriting the volume over the course of several years. Surprisingly, jokes from this ancient volume are still in common circulation today, and form the backbone of most jokes that you will hear in school playgrounds and offices throughout the land. The knock-knock joke format, for example, can be found within the pages of this ancient volume. The original knock-knock jokes featured an additional knock, and they are thought to have originated from the practice of villagers annoying local guardsmen. It may come as a surprise to learn that many contemporary comedians such as Arthur Cribbs, the brothers Tutu and Scotch Donald can have their jokes traced back to this very volume. While many of the jokes within this old tome still stir amusement today, it seems that a small percentage of them have lost their meaning over the intervening centuries. The following jokes are good examples of this. With what does a baker bake his wares? A baker's grin. What's be worse than milk on Wednesday? Milk on Friday. Jokes such as these seem to have lost their meaning entirely. With this long-lost book from the Abbey's past now about to be made public, perhaps we will soon see a growing interest in the other secrets of Bath Abbey. Whether this will happen remains to be seen, but we can only hope that this short film has helped to raise awareness of just a few of these fascinating secrets. Thank you for watching.